today, Thursday, the director of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, Dr. D. James Baker, talked with the Weather Channel's Dennis Smith about this year's El Nino and what we might expect in the future.
Joining us today is Dr. D. James Baker. He's the administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Dennis, it's a pleasure.
Now, NOAA is responsible for the monitoring and forecasting of El Nino events. And when might we see an end to this current 1997-98 El Nino event?
Well, Dennis, right now the models are showing that we should be returning to normal conditions along about summer. And we can't really say what's going to happen after that, but the current El Nino looks like it'll be winding down summertime.
So we've just gone through the warmest and wettest winter that we've ever seen. And do you think this is a precursor to some kind of a climate change that we may be going through?
Well, Dennis, all of the models that we have show that this is what happens when you have global warming. That is, when you add carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, you expect to lead towards a warmer and wetter world. And so the kinds of things that we saw this winter that were really driven by the El Nino, but they're the kinds of things that we expect to see when you go towards global climate change. And the lessons that we learned about how to get prepared are going to be very important for the American public in the future. So it's a good lesson for us to see how we can prepare for longer-term climate change.
When might we see another event, especially of this magnitude we've just gone through as far as an El Nino in a forecast?
Well, of course, that's the question of the age. When do we see these big events? Right now, as I said, we're looking like it will go down towards normal in the summer, and we can't really say. Some of the models are saying that we might go into the opposite phase, La Nina, but in the early 1990s, we got 3 El Ninos in a row. So we're very eager to see what the results are going to be.
And how do you think the public responded to this kind of unique forecast, the El Nino forecast of this last year?
Well, the public response has been wonderful. We did a couple of summits, one in California and one in Florida, to warn people about what was going to happen. We did see all of those things with the storms and so on, and the public, the emergency managers were all out there doing things, and it shows what we can do together with federal government information and the private sector partners like the Weather Channel in helping the public be warned of these impending events.
And it looks like they'll be ready for the next one as soon as it comes along as well.
Absolutely. They know what's going to happen, and the information is there.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Dr. D. James Baker, administrator of NOAA. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dennis Smith.
All right, thanks, Dennis. And indeed, we get a lot of our information from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The National Weather Service, of course, a part of that. Now, what we're looking at here in the west is a pretty vigorous storm system right here moving through Arizona, or out of Arizona now into New Mexico. Pretty good swirl showing up on our satellite imagery. And as some of that energy is pulling out into the western parts of Texas and Oklahoma, we've seen an eruption of some thunderstorms indicated by these bright white clouds here. Another batch is developed in Nebraska on down into Kansas, and we have had some reports of some fairly gusty winds, but primarily hail-producing thunderstorms, at least at this point. Another big batch of cold air, and we know it's very cold and unstable because of the kind of dotted nature of the clouds up here to the north, in the North Pacific. That's going to be pulling over the Pacific Northwest, helping to cause a lot of scattered showers and maybe even a little bit in the way of thunder and lightning here in the Northwest, but primarily keeping those snow levels in the Cascades of Washington and Oregon, and even the mountains of Northern California, fairly low. Up here in the Cascades of Washington, snow levels might get down to about 1,500 to even 1,000 feet in some places. So beware of that if you're traveling anywhere up above Seattle there or around the Portland vicinity. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the high temperatures today across the west. It was actually below average as far as these were the highs. 60 in Phoenix, pretty cool. 59 along the Strip in Vegas. 50 in Seattle and 52 in Portland. It's currently 61 in Long Beach. It's 54 at Daggett, and it is 54 at Santa Barbara. Farther north, it's 54 at San Francisco, 55 at Marysville, and up at Blue Canyon, it's 34 degrees. In the Pacific Northwest, 41 at Ephrata, 36 at Spokane, 41 degrees. That's kind of chilly in Seattle, and 40 at Hoquiam. Look at Stampede Pass, 26 degrees, definitely snowing in and around pass level. A couple of minor quakes, 3 of them actually, out across Alaska, anywhere from near Valdez all the way up to north of Fairbanks. Then as we head farther to the southeast, nothing reported in the Pacific Northwest. A couple of minor quakes, one up in, looks like the Napa Valley. Another one here, not too far away from Bishop, California, a little over 2 on the Richter scale. And deep into the south, down toward the Mexican border, well east of San Diego and Chula Vista, another quake. Again, a minor one, a little over 2 on the Richter scale. As far as the rest of the nation is concerned, we're concentrating mainly right here in the middle of the country. That is where the threat of severe weather still exists, but all that's left of the severe thunderstorm watches, which extended from Nebraska to Texas earlier, is a little area here in parts of Kansas. Oklahoma getting a few larger thunderstorms, at least in the western part of the state. You can see them developing and moving to the east, but they're very widely separated and isolated. Still, any one of those could have some brief gusty winds and the possibility of some hail, and actually hail was covering the ground earlier with some of these storms in Nebraska. But again, a lot of this action appears to be dying down. The only big cluster right here left northwest of the Russell area in north central Kansas. Temperatures, the other big story today, way above average for anywhere east of the Continental Divide. In fact, we had some records today from Flint, Michigan, Marquette, all the way out into parts of Colorado. Currently, though, temperatures have backed off somewhat as we head out here into the north central plains. Colorado, at least to Denver, at 47 degrees. Pretty sharp frontal boundary here, and it's along that boundary where we saw a lot of the thunderstorm actions flare up late this afternoon and on into early this evening. But we think perhaps a bigger threat of severe weather will exist as we head on through the weekend, as this energy tomorrow starts to drop down through the western parts of the Rocky Mountains and all the way out to the California coast. Some showers there in central California. Yeah, some snow moving down through the Sierra Nevada. Again, those snow levels in the northwest down to about 1,000 feet in some cases. This storm system pulls east with its rain out through the central plains states. Let's check out Long Beach at 51. That's your morning weather, getting up to about 63 at the Civic Center. Watch out for some showers moving in a bit later in the day. We'll be back with a look at your own local forecast right after this.
There are a number of reasons why Infiniti i30 owners love their cars. For some, it's the rich, shiny look that comes from the 6-step paint process. For others, it's the custom-tailored 6-speaker Bose audio system. And for still others, it's the responsive 190-horsepower V6 engine. But perhaps the biggest reason people love their i30 so much is because it can all be enjoyed for under $31,000. The Infiniti i30. Own one, and you'll understand.
Every stomach needs a first aid kit for all those unexpected bites and burns and cuts and scrapes and spills and other stomach irritations. Pepto-Bismol is first aid for...
morning, everyone. Half past the hour. It is a Friday morning, TGIF, the 27th day of March. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Edwards. This is Vivian Brown.
Good morning.
And we were talking, well, as early as a 3 days ago, saying that the attendance, I'm sure, on the job may be a little diminished today, especially over the east, because the first real good taste of springtime weather is going to invading the east, and it's going to be warm. And it's a Friday heading into a weekend, and a lot of folks are just going to say, I'm taking the day off, taking a vacation day, because it's going to be really nice today.
But you know what? Not only today, but this nice weather will last through the weekend for most of the east. So you don't have to really
That's right.
play hooky from work or from school today.
And if you're like me, my condolences, but no. I was thinking yesterday, what about daylight savings time? Isn't it the end of March or something like that? I was thinking, I looked it up. So daylight savings time doesn't start this weekend. It's next weekend, next Saturday, a week from tomorrow. So.
And we'll be springing ahead, so we'll be
That's
losing an hour. Yeah, losing an hour. Losing an hour's sleep, at least. We'll be springing ahead.
But more sunshine.
Oh, okay. I guess that is the positive way to look at it.
I got coffee to drink. Go do some weather.
Okay, let's check on the afternoon highs we had yesterday. And we had numerous records now. From Burlington, Colorado, 82 degrees, to Goodland, Kansas, 82 yesterday. Green Bay, Wisconsin, you got up to 70 degrees. In Marquette, Michigan, that's in the Upper Peninsula, highs in the 50s yesterday, mid-50s. So readings were well above average this time of year, running about 15 to 30 degrees above the norm. Yesterday we had record highs here with readings well above normal. The day before that, the record heat was across the Southwest. And we told you that all of that warmth would be moving east, and it's definitely doing just that day by day. Now, we've replaced the warm air from several days ago over the Southwest with cooler readings, as yesterday we had showers and storms around Phoenix. An afternoon high yesterday in Phoenix of only 60 degrees. So it was warmer across the Great Lakes area than it was in the desert Southwest. 75 degrees yesterday. Chicago, 76. Des Moines, Iowa, and even around Nashville, we got up to 81 degrees. Look at Atlanta, 77. You'll be even warmer today, Atlanta, believe it or not. And throughout the weekend, we'll extend that sunshine and the warmth. So a pretty good weekend, particularly over the southeast. Now, highs yesterday, again, were in the 70s all the way to the northern Great Lakes. But you ask, well, it is spring season, so it's time for things to warm up. Well, that's true. But you know what? It shouldn't be that warm. As average afternoon highs this time of year, we should still only be seeing middle upper 40s for highs across the Great Lakes in the upper Mississippi Valley, and 50s for places like Chicago, and upper 50s for St. Louis. But readings this morning are above what the average afternoon highs should be this time of year. So you get the idea. Even though we're starting on a warmer trend, it's spring season, it shouldn't be this warm. 63 in Chicago this morning, 69 in St. Louis, 61 around Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and look at Cleveland already this morning, 65 degrees. A little cooler over the northeast, but 49 to start off the morning is not all that bad, in Boston. 55 New York, 53 Philadelphia, and 55 currently our nation's capital. Atlanta, we have a current temperature of 56, 59 Birmingham, 62 New Orleans, and look at Houston, 69 degrees. But come summer season, it's going to be much, much warmer overnight in Houston. So 69, that's not all that warm for you, as it could be much warmer as we get into the latter part of the spring season and certainly into summer. Current temperatures, again, very warm over the eastern half of the country. Not only is it warm, but it is also moist, as we have a lot of low-level moisture here with dew points in the 50s and 60s. The dew points represent the moisture available in the atmosphere. The higher the number, the more moisture. And with this warm and moist air in place, we'll watch our storm coming out of the west, and it'll basically push into this warm and moist air, and we're setting the stage for thunderstorm activity. Now, some of the storms could reach severe limits later today. We've outlined the area where we think there is a better chance as we look at the upper air dynamics for thunderstorms today, and that includes Dallas, Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Cape Girardeau, Joplin, St. Louis, Missouri, even as far north as Chicago. Maybe a few evening thunderstorms today. as we again have the warm and moist air in place and our system coming out of the west. Now already this morning we've had the thunderstorms to develop here across western Texas, the western Red River Valley, and more thunderstorms over the eastern parts of Minnesota. A quick look now at the storms rolling into the central parts of Oklahoma, well north and west of you right now, Oklahoma City, but notice that these thunderstorm cells seems to be moving right off toward the east, so we'll be moving into the Oklahoma City area and even cross over the state border, south central Kansas. Thunderstorms have developed. Get a little break in the action, Nebraska and Iowa, but here's another look at those storms. A little closer inspection around Minneapolis, St. Paul this morning. A little rough as we start off this Friday. So the big picture right now, it is not as active as it's going to get later this afternoon. And with more details on your late afternoon forecast, here's Bruce.
Alrighty, we check it out, and here we see that low cranking, mainly moving off to the north-northeast here, as opposed to coming across, moving straight east. So we're going to see high pressure dominating the weather here. The strong, the potentially severe storms fire up ahead of the front. We see the rain moving up into the western Great Lakes, but really through the Mississippi Valley. It's going to be windy and warm in the east. I mean, we're talking 77 in New York with sunny skies here, 80 in Philly, 83 D.C., Pittsburgh 82, a little windy back in Ohio. Detroit hits about 75 with some windy conditions, but still awfully nice. 79 in Atlanta, Georgia, 80 in Charlotte for today. Orlando should hit about 83, and Miami 81 with an onshore wind. And then the strong southerly winds ahead of the front mean storms. So we're going to see them across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, eventually working in towards the Arklatex and the plains. Another in a series of storms comes into the west with more rain and cloud cover and mountain snow. And then again, the storms will continue to rattle the central plains.
This program was sponsored by Outback Steakhouse.
A knife from the stove. It was a knife of mythic proportions. And no one could resist the pull of the knife. And then one day came the answer. It takes a big, juicy Outback steak to unlock the true potential of the legendary Outback steak knife.
Just what I was looking for.
Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Now, if I could only find the fork in the road.
Visit our website for the Outback Steakhouse nearest you. Outback. No rules, just right.
Budner, get these tax documents to our clients fast, but watch our costs.
FedEx can deliver in 2 days for up to $11.